News. I am your host Ben Rangai, and Sign Language Japan. The voicing is Gideon Maina. On to our first news item. Science Media Kenya Limited, in partnership with KCB, has wrapped up a 2-day disability mainstreaming training at its Leadership Center in Karen. Central to the program was Assistol, a mobile app offering on-demand sign language interpretation to ensure deaf clients access banking with dignity and independence. Science Media Kenya Managing Director Luke Muleka said this training is about raising ambassador of disability inclusion who will redefine inclusive customer service. KCB says the initiative underscores its commitment to financial inclusivity and accessibility in line with its promise for people for better. On other news, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has expressed optimism that the ongoing continuous voter registration CVR exercise will gain momentum despite a sluggish start earlier this week. The Commission, which is currently on a national campus sensitization tour, believes its targeted effort to engage young voters will significantly boost participation. The CVR exercise, which began this Monday, has seen lower than anticipated turnout. However, the IEBC is hopeful that the current drive, especially aimed at bringing young people onto the voters' roll, will turn the tide on the initial low numbers. The IEBC officials noted that securing the youth vote is crucial to the success of the exercise and future elections, and they remain committed to reaching registration target through this intensified awareness campaign.
So far numbers za leo tusema ni za kuridhisha, japo bado ziko chini, lakini si kama siku ya kwanza. Kwa mfano kama leo tumemanage kuregister 70.
Wataki kwetu wanasemanga ati my youth majenzi hawatapiga kura. 65% of Kenyans are young people. Na sasa nikarealize our young people kuwa collect pamoja ni ngumu sana. Kuwaita pamoja ni ngumu sana.
Watu bado hawajapata clear information about hiyo registration, how it's conducted, how it's supposed to be done, when is the period to be done with the registration. So you get unapata kuna shida mingi, changamoto mingi, ama unapata wanafanya mahali kama in another constituency, ama they are doing in town.
The voter registration imewekwa mbali na wao, it is costly, na wanaona kwa the distance, hata kama ni free kukuja kuregister, the distance, the cost that they will be using, the transport, inawakalia ngumu sana.
Apart from hiyo kitu ya kitambo yenye watu walikuwa na chukuliwa hizo nini za macho, yes, sometimes people may fear such things, more so wale wenye wako mashinani huko, sababu hawaelewi ni nini inayofanyika.
We want to register as voters so that we can transform this country. We want to transform the leadership of this country because we are the numbers, we are the Gen Zs, and failure to register as voters, then we'll be recycling those old minds into the government and there'll be no change. Kindly, we want those registration centers to be mobile.
The fate of Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo remains unknown over 24 hours after they were reportedly abducted by heavily armed security operatives near Kampala, Uganda. The activist, who traveled from Kenya on Monday to support the presidential campaign of musician turned politician Bobi Wine, was seized at a petrol station in Kireka, Kampala, on Wednesday afternoon. Njagi, the chairman of the Free Kenya movement, and Oyoo, the movement's Secretary General, were reportedly forced into a vehicle by personnel described as security operatives, some in plainclothes, and whisked away to an undisclosed location. Their phones were immediately switched off. Leading human rights organizations, including the Law Society of Kenya and Amnesty International Kenya, have condemned the enforced disappearance and issued a joint letter to the Uganda High Commission demanding the activists' immediate and unconditional release.
We call for the release of our comrades, and they should come cross-border while they are still healthy. We do not want excuses, and from here we are going to organize and give our governments, that is East African governments, 12-hour ultimatum to release Bob and Nicholas Oyoo.
The circumstances surrounding the abduction raise serious concerns about safety of Kenyan citizens in Uganda and the potential collaboration between the Kenya and Ugandan governments.
Political opponents must not be harassed, tortured, or imprisoned for speaking out. We reject tyranny and we embrace the spirit of unity.
Like some of the Kenyans who went to neighboring country, I want to assure you that the Foreign Affairs Ministry is handling those issues, and everybody will be accounted for. It's the duty of the government of Kenya to protect its citizens in any part of the world.
Kuna Prime Cabinet Secretary hapa. Kuna Wakenya ambao wameshikwa huko Uganda. Tukimaliza hii burial, tunaambia Mheshimiwa Mudavadi apigie Museveni simu watoe hao Wakenya ambao wameshikwa.
Former Chief Justice David Maraga has officially entered the political arena, announcing his intention to contest in the 2027 presidential election on a United Green Movement UGM party ticket. The announcement was made yesterday, confirming weeks of speculation about the retired CJ's political ambitions. Maraga officially joined the UGM, a party focused on environmental and progressive policies, and has been unveiled as their presidential flag bearer.
The image of this party to another level. We are going to deal squarely with the issue of corruption that has us and terribly ruined this country. We are going to give the necessary political will to fight it. We believe in teamwork, but we work with people who share our ideologies. Those who share our ideologies, we have two major issues to deal with: constitutionalism and the rule of law.
The Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, in partnership with the Common Market for Eastern and Southern African COMESA, has officially commenced the pilot implementation of the Electronic Certificate of Origin (ECO). The initiative marks a significant step towards streamlining and easing regional trade for Kenyan exporters and COMESA members states. The shift from paper-based to electronic certification is expected to drastically reduce the time and cost associated with trading within the bloc. KRA stated that the pilot phase is crucial for testing the new digital system's efficiency, security, and interoperability before a full rollout. The e-core is a vital document that confirms where a product was manufactured, allowing it to benefit from preferential tariffs under the COMESA free trade area.
For exporters or even importers for the verification of the certificates, because this electronic certificate of origin is with regard to preferential trade, which means that where countries have agreed to have preferential terms of trading and they have a preferential agreement. So there are terms that they have agreed to, for example, either reduced taxes or gradually reducing taxes.
There have also been cases of fraud which have been reported. Even environmentally, because of the paperless use of the certificates, it's environmentally friendly, but also important that it confers trust among different economic agents across the countries, whether the revenue authorities or even the policemen, all that across, that there is a trust in that certificate.
Health services across Nairobi County are facing imminent paralysis after hundreds of healthcare workers staged street protests today over 3 months of delayed salaries. The workers, representing various cadres, marched to the governor's office accusing the county executive of betrayal for failing to remit their dues and statutory deductions dated back to July. The union representative leading the demonstration threatened an immediate and comprehensive withdrawal of services across all health facilities, including major county hospital, until all 3 months of outstanding pay are settled.
Imagine living in Nairobi with 3 months, without being paid 3 months' salary. In Nairobi, you have rent to pay, you have school fees to pay, you have to transport yourself to work. It's not like we walk to work.
They committed to be paying by 5th of every month. We are giving them an allowance of 1 or 2 days, but look here. Today is the 3rd month.
SHA came, it reduced our pay slip. House levy came, it reduced our pay slip. But on our side, we're not being promoted. In this tough economy, imagine living with the same salary you lived 10 years ago, 5 years ago. How are we meant to survive?
We have had the employer commit to resolve these issues, only for them to go against the agreements. So non-honoring of agreements is one of the reasons why we are out here. So we are wondering, why would we always sit on a table and discuss issues that don't end up being implemented?
Read that at least 136 infants have died in neonatal and pediatric wards due to the absence of personnel to administer care. No fewer than 20 mothers have lost their lives during childbirth or for preventable post-delivery complications. Cases that not have been turned fatal if basic medical supervision had been available.
Hospitals of Kiambu County are in ICU. All of them. The hospitals themselves are sick. There are no medicine. There are no doctors. The cleaners are not there. The facilities are in a mess. Not only even in the hospitals, even if you go to the morgues, the stench is coming from far and wide.
Nuclear Power and Energy Agency, NUPEA, has pinpointed 8 potential locations along the shores of Lake Victoria in Siaya County to host Kenya's inaugural nuclear power plant. The agency board chairman, Professor Larry Gumbe, announced. The identified site, spanning the area between Ugambe and Dangamoyo, are situated within Bondo and Rarienda sub-counties. Professor Gumbe made the disclosure while addressing the media at the Siaya County Assembly premises, where he and the agency's top management paid a courtesy call on Speaker George Okode. The chairman emphasized NUPEA's dedication to implementing the project in strict adherence to the safety standard and safeguarding set by the International Atomic Energy Agency's IAEA.
And the countries or regions where this has happened, safety is guaranteed and development is spurred, and therefore we cannot afford to be left behind. And as Siaya County Assembly, we are ready. We have also agreed with them that in due course we shall be having a more in-depth discussion with them so that we also get the technical bit. And from there we will go to our people, the grassroots, and explain to them what this program is all about, the risks that are there, how the risks are mitigated, and the benefits that are there, and why we cannot let the benefits go untapped.
The Nuclear Power and Energy Agency of the Government of Kenya, we are committed to building the first nuclear power plant here in Siaya. It's going to be the first one and not the only one, and we are committed to breaking ground before 2027 and having power produced there before 2034. So we are going to have very robust stakeholder engagement. We are going to have very, very robust engagement with them here. And very soon, on the 14th of October, we are going to open our liaison office in Siaya, and will be available on the ground for any clarifications to the public. So we are indeed very grateful to be here. The project, when it is built, will cost about 500 billion Kenya shillings, will contribute over 100,000 megawatts of power, which is quite significant, in that we are only producing 3,400 megawatts in Kenya at the moment. Nuclear power is very safe, indeed very safe. The number of deaths from the energy producing agencies, energy producing plants, is measured in terawatt hours, in numbers per terawatt hour. If you look at gas, the number of deaths is about 26 per terawatt hour. If you look at geothermal power, it is about 1.3 per terawatt hour. And hydroelectricity is a little higher. But nuclear power has got nuclear, solar, and wind power. The deaths per terawatt hour are 0.03, about there. So it is extremely safe. A lot of safeguards are built in it, and in constructing our plant, we will be following the guidelines from the International Atomic Energy Agency, which has got very rigorous standards. So we assure you that there is a lot of safety in the plant. At the construction phase of the plant, we will create between 7,000 and 10,000 jobs. When the plant is operating, there will be about 1,000, 2,000 jobs created, which will create a small town near where the plant is. So we have 8 potential sites we are investigating, and we hope and pray very hard that before the 2027, we would have broken ground to build this power plant.